One of the things that students mention often about having challenges organizing information that they're learning, either that or finding ways to remember different things. So, for example, a lot of times in personality psychology, they say that thinking about the different theoretical perspectives can be challenging for them. Remembering them can be challenging for them. So, a couple of things that I do want to suggest. So the first for any type of learning that we're doing is going to be repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition is going to be important. The more we repeat something, the more likely we are to remember it. So creating flashcards for yourself. So for example, with the psychodynamic perspective on one side of the flashcard, and then on the other side of the flashcard, we have things like unconscious experiences, are most important, or that early childhood experiences are most important, things like that. So we can find those flashcards already done for us online sometimes, like Quizlet, places like that, or we can create them ourselves. Some of us learn better through hands-on stuff, so that would mean making your own flashcards, like taking 3x5 index cards and handwriting it is probably going to be more beneficial for some students than using an online set of flashcards. I know it was for me, but that's just me. So figuring out what strategies work best for you in terms of repetition is going to be really useful. So reviewing your notes that you've taken, taking your handwritten notes that you've created and then typing them out, printing them out and reviewing them every day. All of those are ways that we can use repetition of information in order to help us remember the things that we have learned or that we have read about so far. Okay. Another thing that we can do is help our brain try to organize what we are learning. And sometimes you try to organize it as you're reading, and it doesn't really work out so well because you don't really get the full extent of what you're reading until you're done with a section. And so what it might be beneficial to do is to read through a section of text, of information, and then stop and think about, okay, how can I organize this? How can I organize it in my brain? How can I maybe visually organize it? So some people use what we call mental map, and this would be a visual way to organize information. So in the personality class, there is discussions about different theoretical perspectives of the ways that people develop personality and what's important to personality. So we could start to do a mind map for each of the units. So if you look at this, I've got a column for theoretical perspectives. I've got a column for terms. I've got a column for who, like who's the theorist, right? And then I've got a column for terms related to that specific theorist. So we start with the psychodynamic perspective, which you can't really see because that's in green. Sorry, my son and his best friend are laughing, which I like. So I'm like, yeah. And then we've got unconscious, it's the most important. And then the second one says early childhood experiences. And then there's a lot of discussion of neurosis or anxiety with these psychodynamic folks. So then we've got who? We've got Sigmund Freud as our first theorist. And what are some of the terms that are related to Sigmund Freud? So we've got the id, the ego, the superego, we've got the different types of anxiety, and this is one way that we can visually start to organize our information. So if you Google mind maps, you'll see all sorts of different ways that you can try to visually organize this information and to remind your brain of how it can be organized or how your brain understands it in terms of the organization of it. Okay. So if you start using mind maps, I would love to see an image of the mind map that you're using for a particular unit. You can take a picture of it and include it in your unit reflection. Maybe it'll help somebody else with their understanding of what they're doing in a specific unit. Thanks.